It's like, hey,
All right, so I was going to say, talking about the second quarter, what we got to talk about this quarter, Rutledge?
all right, so we're going to talk about second quarter. We've talked about FCS. It came out on ESPN College Football released a tweet that somehow turned into Taven Austin released this tweet, because I even sent it to Steve. He's like, why would Taven Austin say that? But
Right.
it is the 10, and I bring that up because Tavon Austin, even on his own Twitter, was like, yo, this is not my tweet. I just retweeted so we could talk about it. Like, he had to defend himself. So Tavon Austin put out ESPN's list of the 10 most exciting college football players of all. Come on, Richard, you have to get in there. 10 most exciting college football players of all time. Here they are in order, 1 to 10. Reggie Bush, Tavon Austin, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Johnny Manziel, Lamar Jackson, Braxton Miller, Peter Warrick, Michael Vick, and Jabril Peppers. Steven, what do you think of that list?
I don't know what he's like. Is he only or are they only considering recent? Because personally, I would not put Johnny Manziel in any kind of list like that. But then you got some really like older greats that just are completely not on this list. You know, I'm not a huge Georgia fan, but I cannot believe Herschel Walker is not on this list.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
That was an exciting dude. That was an exciting dude to watch. Every time he touched the ball, something big was going to happen.
Exactly. I mean, even in his NFL career, every time he touched the ball, well, no, I'm thinking Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's another one.
Yeah, no Barry Sanders, no Herschel Walker, no Bo Jackson, and those of course are all running backs. No Desmond Howard. You know, no one off of the good Miamis in the 80s. I'm with you. I like Reggie Bush at the top because Reggie Bush to me is in the same class of athletes as them. I think he was really, really great. You remember whenever Reggie Bush touched the ball, it was like, all right, something big's going to happen. And his team, can we sack the quarterback, people?
Apparently, I don't know how to throw. I kept tapping the button.
This is FCS football for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are...
Yes. Go back to
struggling.
North
I'm sure
Dakota,
Connor's watching the show from wherever he is like, oh, I'm glad I took the night off of that.
He's yelling at the TV screen
Yelling at the TV. Yelling at his phone somewhere out there. Show off if he watches the show or not. Okay. There you go. That was a successful pass. But we were saying, like, I like Reggie Bush up there. I like Johnny Manziel in there. But remember, Johnny Manziel left as like a sophomore, so we didn't get, besides his year where he kind of knocked off Alabama in 2012. He wasn't that exciting.
True that.
Braxton Miller was on that Ohio State team that they could do anything. But some modern players that I think missing. I like that you throw in the retro dudes. Yes. Some dudes that I think missing are Tim Tebow, first of all.
Right.
And that came up a lot in Twitter out there. You remember when Tebow and the Gators were on the field, they were just transcended to a different level.
Yeah, I will say Tebow was just fun to watch, like, because he was so elusive. Like, he could throw the ball, but he could also run, and like you never really knew what he was gonna do.
Right.
What was that?
What was that?
Oh man. For the podcast listeners, I just like shanked the heck out of that ball. It just flew like directly perpendicular to the where it was supposed to go. Anyway, back to Tebow. Like, I remember when the infamous jump pass happened and like going crazy. Like,
yeah,
it was just fun to watch. Like, that was good old college football. Whenever Tebow was on the field.
Yeah, I agree with you. When Tebow was on there, I remember watching a Tim Tebow game, and it was Florida versus Mississippi State, and this was like the ESPN game of the night, and that was before Stark Vegas really took off, before Dak Prescott, before Dan Mullen, when Mississippi State was They were okay, but like they were not a power team out of the SEC West, and they still
Right.
aren't. And I remember that, and I just remember looking at Tebow in Florida and being like, "You're just straight up not going to beat them." And I love a good college football upset, and just saying you're not going to beat them at all. Here's a player, and we're going to know I'm a little bit of a fanboy on this one, but someone who I think is not on the list, who is exciting that I actually have Jadavian Clowney. So
Oh man.
I will put up there, and I am a South Carolina fan. Please pity me. Um, but as a South Carolina fan, I thought that he was an absolutely explosive athlete. But I want to talk about him as if you remove the Michigan hit, though. Like, he was incredible, but I don't want to think of him as the Michigan hit because that was such a wild play. But everything else about him. So what would you think about Jadavian Clowney?
Oh, did you get
I
that?
think we got that. Nope. I'm on defense.
Oh yes. Um, if you do take that Michigan hit out, I honestly can't think of anything else about him. But I wasn't a South Carolina fan like you were, so he wasn't really big on my radar.
So what the big thing about Clowney was at least, or what happened, and especially when you're a defensive stud like a Jadavian Clowney or an Ndamukong Suh, is that your teams are going to game plan their offensive line around you. So with Clowney, what happened, he was in his senior season a preseason Heisman favorite. And what eventually happened is teams, their base game plan was, okay, wherever 7 is, go the other way. And when you are a defensive end, if you're on the right and they hand it off left, you don't have that type of time to go make a play.
Right.
Also, the defensive talent at South Carolina, because Melvin Ingram was on the line when he hit fame. Melvin Ingram was in there as well. Melvin Ingram's a very good NFL player, has had a very good NFL career. So is the two of them. So I like him, but it was just you could scheme around him not being as exciting. But when he could be on, that man was on. The last one that I have out of the modern era is Texas Longhorns quarterback Vince Young. Do you remember watching any Vince Young
Oh
back in the day?
yes, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically because what years was that?
So Vince Young was on the Texas team that won the Rose Bowl that beat USC. So it was like in the early 2000s. Of course, that championship game where they beat USC that took place in 2006. Was that
Okay.
Rose Bowl? So the 2005 season. He then went off to the Tennessee Titans. Was not successful.
Yeah, because that was just when I started getting into watching college football.
There you go.
It was
Touchdown,
about
Steve.
2006, 2007.
Your uniforms look like University of Delaware.
Oh yes, I was gonna say that or like a washed out reverse of Michigan or something.
Yeah, a reverse of Michigan, or like a high school that is like going off of Michigan.
Yeah,
Uh,
wants to.
All right, so last 40 seconds, Steven. So you mentioned you got into college football a little late, especially when in college. Who do you miss watching play college football?
I'm gonna have to go with a homer pick here, being from Georgia Southern. My man Jason Foster from Georgia Southern. He was the real deal. He won the Walter Payton Award for FCS, I think, was that 2007?
2007.
Yeah, that man. Whew, he could do anything you wanted him to do and do it well. And he was kind of like a almost more versatile Herschel Walker because you never knew what was going to happen when he was on the field.
Definitely. For those that don't know, Jason Foster was the quarterback at Georgia Southern University in 2007 for his senior season. And the coach at the time ran kind of like a spread screen offense, which worked really well when he coached in Division II. Didn't translate up well into our league. But Jason Foster, of course, was kind of like a Lamar Jackson before his day. Small but very fast, and built
That's
but
a
very
good
quick.
comparison.
And he was really good.
Yeah, our whole offensive scheme that year was basically was just give it to Jason Foster.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. So I'm going to pick someone similar to Jason Foster that I miss and wish we would have had more of in the college football game. I'm going to go Cam Newton. Um,
Good
you remember
choice.
Cam Newton at Auburn. Gene Chizik was, if we don't remember, when Gene Chizik got off the plane in Auburn, Alabama, a fan chanted, "We want a leader, not a loser."
Oh man, I had not heard about that.
Yes, so Gene
That's
Chizik was
good.
a coach at Iowa State, and there was actually some other things that sort of wrapped up that they felt like he was hired for more reasons than his coaching ability.
Mm.
Um, but Gene Chizik was at Iowa State, and Iowa State, until recently, has not been a very good football school. We cannot catch anything tonight. So and his record wasn't very good. So when he showed up, there of course Cam Newton did his whole other side thing with stealing a laptop at Florida, playing in a junior college, coming back, apparently getting scouted around by his dad. Apparently his dad I got a bunch of money to send him to Auburn. All that controversy, but man, we didn't know that at the time. That didn't come out until December, and it was just magical.
Hmm. I actually saw something the other day where it's like, how crazy is this to see uh, Florida with Tim Tebow winning a championship with Cam Newton as the backup?
Yeah. And there's many a picture of Cam Newton holding a clipboard as a freshman, sitting there next to Meyer, waving off plays to Tebow. So,
Hmm.
we missed. All right, this one's going to work.
Oh,
I'm just basically just throwing to George Kittle the whole time, and Steven's just putting out zone defenses trying to stop me, and it's not working. Because eventually Madden's like, all right, fine, you can have the ball. Yeah,
you can have one.
you can have one. So I wonder if Urban Meyer would have felt better in the long term if he still had Cam Newton going into his last year.
Oh, I'm sure he would. I bet he regrets it.
Yeah, well, of course, Cam Newton did some things that he shouldn't have done, but that's for
Yeah.
another show.
I mean, that's like, I don't want to say that's college football, but in essence, it kind of is. I mean, there's always going to be some kind of scandal,
Yeah, that's
whether it
true.
be players doing something or coaches doing something.
How many times do you sit there and you watch, oh, look, like, such and such is good, and then, well, even Les Miles was in the news for being kind of naughty. Um, Bobby Petrino, when
Like,
he was at Arkansas, did something very similar. It just pops up in the news that, hey, this is not going to make it. Nope.